So this is your area, hometown world, but you're not an interloper. That's not the right word.
Kind of transplant, but I mean, I've been in Utah for, I don't know, 30, 40 years or something.
Yeah, okay.
It's bizarre sounding to me. But yeah, it's been forever.
He's probably been in Utah for 45 years, because Carrie's 43.
Yeah, that's the only way I can remember.
Yeah.
It's like, by how old she is, but still, it's always felt new to me. It's kind of a weird thing. Never felt like I grew up here or this was it, which I think is a good thing because it never kind of wore off. But
The landscape is so different.
it is.
Like for me, if I'm in where I grew up or in Vermont, it's like, well, it's mountains and green trees and it's kind of the same.
Yeah.
But this is such a different
Stark difference.
stark difference.
And if you are from back east, being out west is just a whole other world.
Yeah.
But I like it. I like it. Once again, I think anybody who ever moved out would probably never get used to it. I mean, unless you're just that person who gets complacent, doesn't think about anything. But I don't ever take anything for granted.
Yeah.
I'm always very appreciative of the landscape. It's always pretty awesome to me.
Do you feel that same way since you grew up here? Does it strike you that way?
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting because, I grew up in Price, and my family's been in the area my dad's family's been here since the Mormon pioneers came to Utah. My family came with Brigham Young and settled the Utah Valley. My great-grandfather was the first bishop of Provo.
Wow.
And then my mom's family immigrated up from Mexico, and then like the Spanish who settled in New Mexico, northern New Mexico, and then intermingled with the natives there. And so I kind of have interesting ancestry, but then they ended up in Dragerton, which is a little coal mining community about 20 minutes from here.
Yeah.
So coal mining's in my blood. My dad was a coal miner for 35 years, and my grandpa was a coal miner. My great grandpa was a coal miner. So that's kind of what brought my family to the area, or kept us
deep
here.
roots.
Kept you here, exactly.
Kept us here.
Yeah.
And so I love the song. I'm a coal miner's daughter. But yeah, so I think growing up here, Helper, I didn't get to go to Price, but Helper and Price look very different. Mm-hmm. We have this beautiful cliff face here, and it's actually the longest continuous cliff face in the world.
I'm glad to hear that because it's like it's jaw-dropping to see it.
When she told me that,
so
too,
we call it
wow,
Steamboat Mountain because of the balanced rock looks like the front of a ship, and it looks, but it continues all the way through into Colorado, and it's the longest continuous. And growing up here, we would see it, but you didn't see it, and it wasn't until I left here when I was 17, and I moved to Tucson and was out there for a little bit. And when I came back, it was like all of a sudden I saw it for the first time. It was like, and I spent a lot of time in Helper in high school, but I just remember seeing it for the first time where it really like dropped into my consciousness and being like, wow, it is really beautiful here.
And but nothing negative about the fact that I think it's just human nature that people that are born and raised somewhere, you don't think twice about it. It's like I never thought about Connecticut as being beautiful. I just wanted to get out of there.
Right. Same.
But then when I was gone and went back once, I was like, oh my God, right? So, because you talk to like Matt Montoya, when I first got here, he's a local cop, and he was like, I don't see it's nothing but dirt and rock. Why would you? So that's just human nature. Yeah. Like he grew up here, and he was just like, why would you move out here? It's,
But does it change, do you have any effect on folks that are from here because someone is interested in being here, doesn't have to be here, came from elsewhere? Does that change, do you think, the way they see their environment, their town, their experience?
I would...
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably just the way to put it.
I think though that a lot of local people do have a deep appreciation for the landscape.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people have side-by-sides and they go out and they ride out into these trails that are here, and people spend a lot of time out in nature. So, you know, I think, you know, there's kind of a mixed bag of some folks who are just like, oh, I'm just going to work and coming home, and it's kind of a bedroom community. But there's a lot of people who love to be here because of the landscape and because of the outdoor recreation opportunity here. We have some of the best bouldering in the country. You know, there's great bouldering areas over, especially in Emery County. Up Spring Canyon, people go rock climbing and stuff up there. But Helper is unique because of the cliff. Yeah. It really grounds the town. It's like this insane backdrop, and then you have that with Main Street, you know, with the old buildings, and then it's sandwiched between the railroad and the river. I don't know if you got to go down.
I just got to that one little crossing to look at. Yeah,
that's cool.
And then the highway. So, you know, it's kind of, I would compare it to Radiator Springs, you know, from Disney, because the highway cuts through, the interstate cuts through their town, and then it's like, oh, where did all the people go? And that kind of happened to Helper. And so now our goal is to, how do we get people to hop off the highway? And, you know, there's like 3 million people that drive through Highway 6 every year. So we're like, if we could just capture like 3%, like, or, you know, it's like such a small amount, but, and so it was interesting to me that you found out about Helper because of the New York Times article. Right. And so, you know, we're starting to get some exposure, especially because of the work that Gary's done to kind of set the stage of the town, of giving it that feel with all of the restored gas stations and then all the artists and all the people that contribute to Main Street. But for sure, the natural landscape is a huge asset. I mean, especially if you're not from around here and you haven't seen cliffs like that, it's just so striking.
Right.
Our big plus, like the big advantage to this, is the fact that it's on the way to Moab.
Yeah.
Is what I learned.
Okay.
Was because there was not a whole lot going on, right? So as for every little attraction that you could, you know, create, you could tell it gave someone a kind of a reason to get off for a second, right? And everyone you meet, I'm talking probably 99% of the people are like, because now I just ask me, oh, where are you headed, right? I'm going to Moab. So that was
especially
kind of
international folks.
Yeah.
Almost all of the international folks are on their way to Moab or coming back. Yep. So yeah, it's great halfway point between Salt Lake City and Moab.
Surprised.
And now that, I mean, they started the Big Five campaign years ago. Because Utah has 5 national parks.
Yeah.
And so it was this big tourism marketing push, and now Moab is like, oh, too much, like, and so, you know, what certain times of the year it's a little overcrowded down there, and so people are finding Helper, and they're like, oh, we could spend a couple days here, go to Moab, check it out, but then come here and have a more relaxed, you know, not hustle and bustle.
You can actually stay here and still go to Moab.
Yeah.
And you know, base here, right? Your hour and a half max to get there. It's just a nice, pleasant drive. Come back to Helper.
Yeah.
And then over in Wellington, there's 9 Mile Canyon, which is it's known as the longest art gallery because it's miles of rock art from the Fremont people.
And that's all very local.
It's really an amazing cluster of rock art from these ancient people, and it's, you know, it's been pretty well protected just because it wasn't, you know, it's kind of out of the way a little bit, and but yeah, that's starting to get more eyes on it, and it's really, if you ever have time to come back, it's definitely worth going and exploring that. There's some really incredible rock art out there.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I definitely want to come back here because I'm realizing there's so many things I'm hearing
so
about
much,
like that.
Yeah. And even these canyons right behind us, 5-minute drive behind us,
Wow.
you know, you can see the old remnants of coal camps and the old foundations. It's just, you know, if you like that stuff,
The
it's
history
exciting.
too. Yeah.
Kind of go out there and probe around.
I mean, it's interesting because the Times article that caught my eye, I was really looking for something very specific, which of course the station is ideal. It's amazing, but I'm also thinking that, you know, that the landscape is a draw, but there's Moab. There's a lot of landscape around here, but the town of Helper is uniquely, because the buildings were relatively preserved. At least they weren't torn down for you know. But what you've done to bring them both to sort of like they have a historic feel. This is maybe what it might have been some time frame. Or in the case of this room, it's both. It's like it could be 100 years old, but it's also really contemporary, current. You've got, you know, local art on the wall, and I feel like there's so much about this town wouldn't have, the New York Times would not have written about it had you not endeavored to do these things. Like, there's a lot of other small towns that have interesting histories too, but they're not going to get written about because they've erased part of what would make them appealing.
Right. I think you have to make it too, everything's got to be conducive. Like, you can't come in and one thing looks one way, unless everyone thinks the same. Most people don't. So if you have something and you're trying to get someone to get into a certain mindset, there has to be like subtle touches throughout, like, right? They can't be obvious, but they got to be where, you know, you're trying to make somebody think, from little things to, I don't care if, I don't want to get into too much detail, but it's the subtle little things, right, that would draw you into, and then it becomes more with the bigger, but you're drawn in already, and then you're
like with the staging of things.
And then you begin to feel.
Well, and like on that note, like a specific example would be, so Gary is an avid sign collector. I don't know if you made it up to the motorcycle museum yet.
I walked by and turned around and walked back.
Oh,
so I
didn't even think about it.
I looked, I looked down into the garage area and like, whoa.
Yeah, so he's been collecting signs for decades, and when he got here, we have an original JCPenney building, or not we, but the town. I say we as in the town has, our friend Steve owns it, and he's got an amazing gallery in there. But Gary had a JCPenney sign in his collection, and so they worked together with the Helper Project, which is the local nonprofit, and were able to put that sign up on the building. He also did a barber pole over at Jalen's barber shop.
That was
so kind of little
interesting.
things you threw out, and also just like all of the buildings that you've done. Did you get to go in the general store?
Yes. Well, I didn't go in. I did a lot of. I sort of feel like if I walk in, I'm carrying everything on my back, so I can't get anything. I don't want to walk in and not buy something.
Should still go
but
in,
that, and she had mentioned that's one of the subtle touches, was like the barber pole, right? A lot of people wouldn't take a lot of stock in that, but with as much budget and desire to do something with the Helper Project, they're like, we want to help. We want to do something. What can we do? And I remember the first thing we did in collaboration was the barber pole. And I was like, you know what? People are going to roll through here. I really think it would be important to have a barber pole on the barber shop, right? And I said, it can't be reproduction. It's got to be authentic. And it was amazing because as subtle as it is, you're always curious if anybody would catch it subconsciously or not. I believe people would, right? Not even things, if they're too obvious, then you did it wrong, right? So it's got to be subtle. But it was funny because.
That's funny because your stations are not subtle.
Well, no, you have to have that too.
Yeah.
But you have to have the little things.
Yeah, those little elements.
It's all in the details.
Yeah.
You know that, but yeah, you don't always be subtle. I mean, sometimes you got to just blow it out and have something for people to enjoy.
But once you've caught their eye,
right,
they need to be able to see something.
And you're subconsciously, I feel, you're drawing them in a little bit. But it was funny because a couple people had noticed that, and a woman had written a book on signs. And I was talking to her on the phone for quite a while, and she said, when I came into that town, and she wrote a whole book on signs. That's what she does. She travels the world. She's an attorney, but she travels the world, and that's her world. And I was amazed to meet someone that's so obsessive about signs, right? So she said, one of the first things that drew me in, I saw this barber pole. And I was like, oh yeah, she's got that thing, right?
She's got it, and you attracted her, and then that ripples because she writes about
and
it,
then she's
and
writing
more
about
people
all the
with
big
that
neon
mindset.
signs,
Yeah.
obviously.
And her name is Lisa Michelle Church, and she's put 2 volumes out. It's Vintage Signs of Utah.
Yeah.
And Helpers in the second volume for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a sign expert.
But for her not to mention first the great big marquees that are lit up now, right?
Right.
It was that, and I was like, yes. She got that, something struck a chord in her, right? It wasn't the big obvious, it was, but yeah, it's fun playing with.
Right, that's obviously you have an interest and a talent for spotting it, saving it, and then the work that goes into being able to present it in a way that that's,
properly,
that's impressive. But what I'm also noting is that you're framing it as sort of this collective that's the we of Helper, and who the network of people and I'm thinking, part of the Times article is that there's got to be something captivating for sure. But there's also got to be a critical mass. Like, am I going to go all the way out in the middle of nowhere, Utah, for a barber pole?
Right.
No. But finding out, wait, there's a whole town that's got an aesthetic and a number of people doing things. That seemed really compelling to me. And it feels like you're very aware of what that means and how to, I don't know, how to utilize the energies of collective. Does that sound right?
Yeah, for sure. I feel very community driven
Yeah.
and, civic minded. I served on our city council for
She had
a
the
couple
first
terms.
little toy store here.
Yeah, I opened a toy store.
There was nothing here when she did that. I mean, that was, we didn't even really know each other then, but I was really taken back by the fact that because there was nothing here.
Yeah.
I mean, there was the cafe. I got to give her, props, because that took a lot of,
Balance Rocky.
yeah. And then her
Cindy,
coffee
she has her
shop, and
coffee
then she was
shop
doing
and-
a little toy shop. But other than that, I mean, everything was boarded up.
Yeah,
pretty
and how
much.
that actually came about was, so I was co-chairing our steering committee for revitalization, and investor had come in and bought the building right over here on the corner, and we had done a sustainable design assessment team project through the Institute of Architects, and they came out and they helped us facilitate a community conversation around, what do you want, what are your goals for your community? And we got a lot of people together from the community who were interested in having this conversation. We spent several days just talking about things and doing a few exercises. Like, one of the things we did was, okay, everybody, here's Post-it notes. You're a teacher, you understand these types of things. So here's Post-it notes. Okay, if you had 1,000 volunteers for a weekend, what would you want to accomplish? What would you do? Oh, wow, so now everybody starts thinking, what could we do, right? And everybody writes down on their Post-it notes, and then they go over and you put them all up on the wall, and everyone gets to see everyone else's ideas, and it just starts this momentum and conversation around, oh, what could we do? And then it was like, well, how many people are here in this room right now? What do you want to do? And through that, we did this design over here. It's kind of like a parklet, is what we would call it. Over here in front of the coffee shop, there's like a strip of ground. When they redid the roads, we ended up with this wide area of ground. It was like, what are we going to do here? So, it took months. We went through a community design process, and we ended up with what we have now, with those benches and the trees and all of the plants and things. But one of the things we did over there was, I kept saying like, oh, one of the things that makes Helper so unique is that we had 27 languages spoken at the turn of the century here, with all of the various people that came from all over the world to live here and build this city. And we commemorated that by having steel plaques in the cement, and each one, there's 27, each one says welcome friends and the country of origin, and then in the language that they would have spoken. So I'm really proud of that. But throughout that process, so this investor had come, and they took part in this design, this community conversation, and they had purchased the building. And one of the big things we talked about was, we need retail. We need to have stores open. We need to, because a lot of it was, staging, kind of still like we're doing, but so there were like phantom art galleries in the windows of these vacant buildings, but there weren't actual like businesses. So he had bought the building, and he was trying to lease it out and couldn't get anybody to rent the space.
There was no one here.
Yeah, and it's a risk. Oh, how am I going to pay rent? So I was a stay-at-home mom at the time, and we were running a successful business, my first husband and I, and he offered me free rent for 1 quarter. Okay. So October, November, December, I opened a pop-up toy store. He offered it to me. He's like, why don't you seem like pretty, like capable, and what do you think? Would you want to do something in there? Well, actually, he asked me first, like, if I could find somebody that would want to do that. Oh, do you think there's anybody that would want to run a pop-up store, gather some data on sales, free rent for 3 months and see how it goes? And I was like, oh, okay. So I kind of asked around. Nobody was really taking the bait, and I was like, I'll do it. So then I got an account with. So I used to be an elementary school teacher. So my background is in early childhood development, and I really love Melissa and Doug toys. They're great developmentally appropriate toys. They're made from wood, and so I love their products. And so I called up their company, and they gave me a credit account and sent me $15,000 of toys and all of the shelving and everything, and I set up a store literally in a weekend. And then 2 of my girlfriends, one of them made soap, and so she sold her soap out of there, and my other friend, she was doing things with essential oils, so she sold that. So between the 3 of us, we kept the doors open for that holiday season, and we did really well. We had like $30,000 in sales, which was a lot for this little town.
Nowhere. Absolutely.
And then I was able to sell the store, and they got a tenant who kept the store going for 5 years after that.
Wow,
yeah. But yeah, so I do appreciate that community collaboration. It's been a few years since I've been in that mode, and I'm looking forward to like getting back to that for sure.
Okay. There's so many. As part of our communications leading up to me coming out here, just there's overlaps with my own life experience, because my mother, as I mentioned, was somewhere between you and someone else, I think. But she was her gig. She also taught school for a while, but not with any kind of training. My mother has always bluffed her way through issues. But she ended up being the head of economic development for Asheville, North Carolina.
Wow.
And when you're in that position, your task is to create jobs.
Yeah.
Meaning bring in big factory manufacturing businesses for that purpose. And she did that to a degree. And then looking around the mountains of her hometown, just didn't want to see another factory, and started really thinking the opposite. What is it that we have here that could be exported? And rethought the economic base for that city around, could we work with mountain culture, history, the landscape? And it turned out like there were a number of artisans scattered throughout the mountains of western North Carolina that they were vaguely aware of one another, and maybe in some degrees in competition with one another, but weren't at all aware of the power of how you could pull some of that together. And as she rethought that became the driver. And like, it sounds to me like some of the folks that you work with here, there were other like-minded people. And you get 5, 6, 10 people with that energy and mindset. And when I grew up in Asheville, North Carolina, I just wanted to get the hell out because there was nothing there. Everything's boarded up, and there's television, and television shows me a world, and I want to be part of that. But if you know Asheville now, it's a thriving community that is attractive. Lots of tourists, lots of business, lots of people moving there, retiring there, etc.
That's cool.
And it's really transformed it. I see a lot of it in Helper, but I also see a lot of it in what you were talking about, how a community comes to define itself and become aware of itself as community. And just even the exercise that you described of, all right, let's free associate. What would you don't think about this tiny box. What could we do?
Right.
I'm curious about, did you find that in an exercise like that people had an aligned way of thinking that they weren't aware of? Or were there things where people were much more at odds? Like, no, it's the exact opposite of what I want to do. Or how did that play out?
It's a little hard to remember, honestly. It was back in 2018. But it seems like, for the most part, everybody was like, we need to like clean up the weeds. And it was kind of like simple things. And then there were some grand ideas for sure. But at the end of it, we kind of took all of that, made a list, and it was like, okay, what are the first things that we could do? And we just started knocking things out, like cleaning up the Riverwalk. I did a cleanup over here at the snowplow engine, and we opened the store. We needed more retail, so it seems like it was a really pleasant process, and I think that it's time for us to do something like that again. As time has gone on, it seems we've kind of lost that camaraderie and that momentum that we had at that time. I think it's time for us to come back together and do something like that again.
A little bit of division as you grow, right? That's when it becomes a little divisive, and things as I saw it, you could see how it would eat away at the fabric of the community when it starts to get divided with just politics, right? And that's more in the recent years, and it's unfortunate. People don't seem to be as what's the word? I don't know. And
there's a positive energy when someone's envisioning, let's do a thing, and that generates positive energy. And then once that thing is done, it's hard to sustain that mindset.
What kind of happened was, I think at first there was a concept of being inclusive and wanting to allow everyone to participate, and then as the years went by, it got smaller and smaller, and so then it was like there's just a handful of people doing things, and then people that wanted to be involved kind of felt pushed out, and I think we just need to get back to that.
I think
energy
we're moving
of
in that direction.
Being open and allowing people to participate that want to.
Do you feel like the pandemic was...
For sure, COVID definitely had an impact on that.
Yeah, in my world, we're just realizing, obviously we were aware this is traumatic, but the degree, the depth, how long incoming students, you realize, wow, their experience of the world, I can barely put my mind in their headspace. and how do we, and I think the harder thing is the pandemic put people in isolation.
Yes.
And so they don't know how to relate. They're not even sure that there's such a thing as relating.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that is part of the energy that you're talking about. You lose the momentum of a kind of a collective. We're all in it for this. Maybe it's
Call
not that
so
simple.
much.
Yeah.
Oh, it definitely. I would say it definitely was kind of the start of the losing of that momentum, and then just kind of bureaucratic red tape, has been challenging. But I think it's not something that we can't overcome, and we can come back together. And there's
it's on the uptick again. I feel.
Yeah.
It's not going in. If you were on a scale, it's not going backwards. Let's put it that way. I feel like it's slowly
leaning forward a little.
in a positive direction.
Okay.
But for the last several years, we've really been up to this building phase of like, oh my goodness, I can't believe how many buildings that Gary has done. It's been, let's see, 5, 9, 10, 11. Like he's built 11 long-term apartments. We've got 9 rooms upstairs here at the new house for short-term rentals. He did all the stations, 5 little gas stations, big industrial complex. Like, it's been non-stop. And so...
But I'm that guy that's all about momentum. I understand that you cannot do anything slowly, right? I'm that guy. It's like you cannot...
Well, you could.
No, you can't. There's not enough time to go slow.
You cannot. That's not... Other people could, but...
Yeah, but there's not enough time to go slow. There just isn't, right? It's like... You want people to come here. You want them to see something. You want them to feel something. So it's like... There's always like, if you're doing anything, it's not completed because you're not looking at the one project you're working on. It's very much like, well, I have to do that building over there, but for it to really be appreciated, I have to have this one over there. So it's not like, kind of hard to explain, but it's like you can't just do one thing.
Right, you see it as holistic. You're going to need several
That's
things to feed. Yeah, that makes sense. Very
much so. Or it doesn't work. Because I remember racking my brains and thinking, what do you do to if you're trying to create something? Do you have hotels? Because the dream was always hotels, restaurants, clubs, and, right? Like to have a town float,
a real destination.
So I remember thinking, what do you do first? Because I'm really wanting to build a diner, right? But if you build a diner, you can bring the people out here from all around, but then where do you go? Where do you stay? Right? Yeah. There's no attraction. So then it feels like you have to build the attraction first, right? But then if you build the attraction and then people come here and there's nowhere to eat or hang out, then they're disappointed. So it's in your mind, it's like, this is nothing. This is a piece of, where we need to be. And the diner's coming. It's right around the corner, and I can't breathe until that's done. Okay. But then it's like, you can bring everybody here once again, but then, you don't, and I've heard it. It's not so much now, but at the beginning it's like, oh, it's such a cool place to visit, but there's really nowhere to, like, eat or hang out or... there is, but it's not. I don't think it's right. Like, I'm not knocking the cafe. I'm grateful that it's here. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't here, right? If that wasn't here, I know I wouldn't have came here. I was like, oh, there's a cafe. It's the beginning of life, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, you just build off of that. So now let's do the buildings and the attractions, and then come back full circle to build the diner or restaurant is what's needed for what I would call the anchor of the town, and the anchor is not here yet. Yeah. When that diner's in, that's gonna be it.
Okay.
That's the big.
Well, and it's just if people are staying a week on TV more than one.
Right.
Option.
Yes, that's why I said I'm not trying to knock.
The more the merrier.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. I mean, it feels like
unique.
When you describe it, I'm like, well, I liked being over there, but it would be nice to also say, and the next day I'll go to the diner,
Right.
and the next day I'll.
And I had a building that I had just sold up the street. The goal was to have an Italian restaurant, Mexican, Asian, and a diner. I mean, that was the big dream. But as you know, time's wearing out for me. I know my. I don't want to say I know my limits. I don't have any, but time is the enemy, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And I already know it's short. It's if you're going to do this, you got a couple of years to get it wrapped up.
Okay.
And so the diner is clearly that sold to Kiva because I know I don't have enough time to do that. You know what I mean? But the diner is clearly doable.
And right, and having done it, the rest of things can fall into place.
Yeah. Then anybody.
Somebody else.
You know,
can,
because it's not a competitive thing. It's not like you want to do it all. You just know what needs to be done.
That's a good point.
So I wished I could just find other people that had that desire to do it. And there's a lot of talk, if you will.
Sure.
But I've not met anyone yet that was like, dude, I hear you. I will do this. I see the dream or
They'll show
whatever.
up though when
think
the
that's
timing's
right.
right. It's just we're not there yet.
Yeah.
No.
As soon as we're ready to do it, they'll show up.
That's good. And you're right. I mean, in one day, someone walks into town and says, "Ha,
Oh, I'm hopeful.
I get this."
Yeah. And you know, I purposely, there's a building down the street, it's called the LaSalle.
Yeah.
To me, it's the most beautiful building in town, right? And everybody always teases me, when are you going to buy that? Why don't you buy that? When are you? I purposely avoided that building because I think it's the coolest building in town, right? And I wanted to see, and I would say this to any in my circle of friends or whatever. When somebody buys that building, that's when I know the town is done, right? Like, and I don't have to be the one doing it.
That's
I hope
right.
somebody gets it and turns it into the most grandiose building. So I'm constantly just waiting. And I turned so many people onto that building that come here all wide-eyed, man, I want to do something. I'm telling you, you need to buy the LaSalle. Put a steakhouse back in it, turn it into a club. We need it, you know? And people get all amped up, but, you know,
It's hard to see it through.
yeah,
Yeah.
but somebody's going to do it. And I thought the Gersh was going to be the one. We had a big money guy come into town from New York. Very flamboyant, big money guy. But I thought he was going to be the next guy to kind of come in.
Well, maybe he'll still do it.
True. Or someone with the pockets, but with a different end result.
And honestly, you really don't need money. I mean, I know we all need money, right? But I mean, finance it, right? I mean, I've never had any money. I don't pretend to have any money. So I don't ever take that as when people are wanting to do anything, oh, I don't have, no, man, go hawk your car. Go, do what you got to do. If you really want to do it, you'll get it done, right?
Yeah.
So it's not so much money; it's more how bad you desire to do that.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't let money ever stop me, and I don't even have any.
Well, there you go. I mean, it's funny. I was just thinking about music scenes, and theoretically, a band is competing with the other band for the slot, right?
Yeah.
But what, of course, it turns out is when you start making friends with the bands, then you draw enough people to actually justify booking any of you.
Yeah.
But if you collectively get together on a bill, maybe people will come.
Yeah.
And the more that starts to happen, you realize that you're generating an energy that no one set of components is ever going to do. Mm-hmm. But collectively, you have more than you even envisioned.
Right.
And you stop seeing it as competition and start seeing it as this ever-expanding community. Mm-hmm. But it can't be one band driving the engine. There's got to be enough energy.
Yes.
Nor is it as much fun. I mean, seeing Ben Steele, who I really admire, his gallery's over here, the Meta.
Okay.
And any of these artists, it's like you know, when he jumped on and started restoring his buildings and stuff, I was like, this is great, you know, because you see what you want to see, and you don't want to do it all. And when you do that, sometimes people get the impression that, oh, he's just trying to do it, you know. That's not the thing. Somebody's just got to do it. So when somebody else, like when Ben did that and opened those stores up, and you doing the toy store, it's like, oh man, those are the people you gravitate towards as,
because they'll make something work.
yeah. And it's collectively helps the whole thing, right? I mean, this means nothing here if there's not a gallery across the street and vice versa. You want to walk up the street and it kind of flows and things are happening throughout. And we are getting there. I mean,
you are getting there.
Yeah, it's been great. And
I mean, just 10 years ago, there was only the coffee shop and Balance Rock.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, that's a testament. That's
and the bowling alley. The bowling alley's been a long time business.
Yep.
Super a huge anchor.
Dude, the first time.
But it's so cute because we have the liquor store, the police station, the post office, the bowling alley.
Yeah.
You know, everything's right on Main Street. The clinic.
Right.
It's just like the quintessential little town.
It really is.
Yeah.
I love it. And I know when I got here, I had taken a picture, and it was a dirt road. I mean, it was literally a dirty, dusty son of a bitch. It's ironic. I have no idea where the picture is now, but I was standing in front of this building, ironically. And this was so long ago. And I took a selfie or something, but you could see it was a dirt road in the New House Hotel. So it was ironic to come be here all these years later and have it now. But I remember just saying, this is so cool. And then seeing that station there, I remember thinking, I can't believe.
The Amtrak station.
Yeah. If somebody activated that, you could just get off that train and walk over to this hotel. And now it happens. Now
that's what I did.
Yeah. Oh, is that what you did?
Yeah. I flew into Salt Lake and then flew into Grand Junction so I could take the train in.
I did not know that.
And walked off the train and said, well, it's supposed to be, right in front of me.
Oh, dude, I got it.
It was awesome. I mean, it was...
So that's a huge dream.
For me, it was like, this is an adventure. It's not just travel. It's
I can't believe I'm glad you...
Yeah, it totally... As soon as I started seeing how the layout, and you're right, I mean, because I noticed, okay, the Amtrak isn't stopping at every little town.
Right.
This is... take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
And no one, I don't think anyone was really seeing it, because when I came through, I was like, man, there's an Amtrak station here. I can't believe it. I remember kept thinking in my mind, Park City being the coolest thing in Utah. I was like, they don't even have a train station.
Yeah.
Right? So why... That just needs to be
It's
taken
definitely
advantage of.
a huge asset to have.
Oh, yeah. And I wished...
And it's the California Zephyr line, so it goes from San Francisco to Chicago. Yeah. So a fun story about the train was, so my first husband's family, they were here, they were some of the first people, here. Japanese railroad workers who then became business owners, and they had the Japanese fish market on Main Street, which is actually where the liquor store is now.
Okay.
And they lived above, and they had an arrangement with the railroad that every week fish would be brought in on the train on ice from San Francisco Bay, or from the Bay Area there, and brought in, and then they would deliver it to the sidewalk. They would stop, get the fish off the crate, and bring it to the sidewalk, and selling this fresh fish. And then every Sunday their grandma would make tofu in the bathtub, so nobody could use the bathtub on Sunday, and huge batches of tofu. And
look up, that just reminded me, look up Helper, what is it?
On Parade.
Helper on Parade.
Okay.
Can you remember that?
Okay.
I'll send you the link.
You will
Right,
love it. It's probably a half hour or less, but it's a film crew came out here in the 30s.
That's not the thing they show at the
Yeah, they
museum.
do.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I
But when
watched.
you're laying
Yeah.
in bed, it's different than watching it there. If you're laying in bed, just watch it.
Yeah. Okay.
And-
Good.
I wanted to recreate that.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
But see, I think
It's
that was
cool.
like a standard script that they would use, and then they would go to every little town, and
Yeah.
you know, and
It's
it's
so
just
American.
so cool. Yeah.
Go USA thing
Yeah,
back
support local.
during the Depression. I mean,
Yeah.
it was
Oh
like,
yeah.
but that's fun to watch. And if you look at it and watch it with the eyes of, you'll recognize all these buildings,
Yeah.
right? So that makes it even
Hmm.
more
That's
fun.
what's fun about it.
But yeah, it is quite the little town. And it's nice too, one of the big things about it, I think big positive notes of this town, because you know how you can ruin anything, right? Like anything can be ruined. But this here, you can't really develop a whole lot. Pretty well locked in, like you said, from the highway to the river to the tracks. Main Street's like from here to there. You know, this is it, right? So I find that a beautiful thing.
You can see it
There's room
grow
for
to a
development
point.
out on the highway,
Yes.
which is great. And then, you know, it's just 6 miles away. We have Price, which, you know,
Right,
then you
it's
have Walmart and, you
It's
know,
perfect.
the hospital and the university and, you know, but we're pretty well protected in that
Yeah.
regard. There's not going to be a whole lot of development going on.
Yeah.
And not, like I said, I know you can ruin anything, but you know, it's but it's a lot harder. Speaking of ruin, I know that was once it's because some of the static I got was buying so much stuff, you know, but it really was because it wasn't for any other reason than to just protect it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I knew early on somebody could ruin the town. People was putting vinyl siding on everything, and it was. So all of a sudden you're either like, I'm either in or out. Like there's no in betweens. It's like you're either like all balls out. I'm doing this or not.
Well,
And then it was to protect, which was strategic. Was so people in between can kind of ruin stuff, but if you methodically, which was take one end, start in the
and
middle,
then work in.
and then quarter it out,
Okay.
which was kind of achieved, right? So then that way, at least you could dot it, kind of methodically coming through town, right? So you would get these subtle cues rolling through town. So if somebody mucked it up in between, you were still kind of safe. But if you took out huge swaths where somebody mucked it up, then when you're rolling through town, your train of thought's getting broken.
Yep.
Like, it's just,
Yep.
What I think is interesting is that Gary's dad always worked on little model train set towns.
yeah.
And, you know, I had the realization not too long ago when I learned that. I saw pictures of it and that he was always, you know, what are they called? The little model train
Little model train,
towns.
like
There's
the towns.
Oh, sure, yeah.
There's
You got a
like
whole story
different
outlet from
models,
this.
like of what size and whatever.
Right,
They have
yeah,
one.
all the
They have.
gauge.
They have. Yeah. They have one at the Helper Museum here.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, oh, that's what Gary does, but he's just doing it in the real life scale.
So that's great. That's a great thing. Weirdly, I made a video 5-6 years ago, just before the pandemic, actually, at Roadside America, which was this place in Pennsylvania near the interstate. I forgot which interstate. So I drove by and they had a sign. Don't see
Yeah.
America's largest, or maybe in the world, largest miniature village in the world. I guess
Oh,
where it's at.
yeah.
And you fly by and you're like, one day.
Yeah.
And so one day I did. I stopped and it was exactly that. It was this giant, it would be twice the size of this space, was this whole
Yeah.
model
They had
train.
a thing.
The whole thing
Yeah,
was there.
yeah.
And the guy who had built it, one
The
guy,
model.
and he was modeling on the town that it was
Yeah.
in. So you're like,
Like
Cute.
Beetlejuice.
oh, like
Yeah.
Beetlejuice,
I like
exactly.
it. Yeah.
And
That's
I,
cool.
I looked at it and then I called somebody and said, would you be willing? And of course, like you all, they were like, yeah, come, we close at such and such a time, but you could come and shoot overnight and whatever.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so I brought a videographer and
How fun.
we did. And sadly, the pandemic, they just couldn't do it, and I noticed that the last time I drove past it, they were gone.
Oh, wow, I wonder where it ended up.
I don't know, and I have a feeling it was so big, it's probably still in that building.
Yeah.
And it's just waiting for someone to resurrect it. You know, if you have any ideas, but but
that's cool.
It was cool, and it's one person's love passed on to their family, and you can sort of feel like, okay, the great grandkids now are maybe a little tired of having to run the business,
Right?
But it clearly also. There would be the aficionados who were like very hyper specific about which gauge train set this is, and all the detail, like in the barbershop poll you're talking about. Yeah. If they know their stuff, they'll know this is the real deal. I didn't know any of that. And what was really cool was the photographer, the videographer I used, is German, and I don't know why he didn't quite understand what I was asking him to come do. But we walked in, and he went, "Oh, this is my dream. Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted a train set, though I never got one. This is my dream." And it was like this great experience. I feel like you'll find people that are going to walk through town here, and it's the perfect mixture of elements, the landscape.
Yeah, you want them to just be happy and feel something. Possibly not even know what it is. They're just, wow, where am I? What is this? Right?
But sometimes, late at night, when I'm out here in front of the building, you can hear the roar of the engine of the train right now. But like, you step out there when it's really quiet, especially after, so we have Helper Saturday Vibes, which is the second and fourth Saturday of every month from May to September. And it's a street festival. And we have bands and music and stuff. And it's like, those busy weekends, it's like once everybody's gone and it's just quiet, I'm like, are we just in somebody's, is it a Rector set? Is that what they're called? Like, are we just in somebody's model train somewhere, like Beetlejuice? Like, it's kind of wild.
It's a surreal feeling to walk around, because it's a real town. People live lives here, obviously. But I feel like I'm kind of drifting through. It's not really a movie set. It's something.
Dude, I gotta tell you. When I first got here, I remember, because it was pretty well abandoned, right? And it was the dirt road. Everything was boarded up or busted out windows and stuff. It was very scary.
Okay.
And I remember thinking, it was so scary, I didn't know if I even wanted to come down here, right? But there was something very intriguing because everything was empty. And so I remember I went and stayed in Price, and I was like, I need to stay down here at night to see how scary this really is. When I'm saying scary, not physically, more, everything felt haunted. Let's just put it that. There was this very clear presence of something here, right? I cannot tell you how strongly that was to walk down the street with no street lights, no nothing, pitch black, okay?
Dirt road.
Once again, dirt road, everything's boarded up or busted out windows, bars on the windows everywhere, and so it was like, man, this is bizarre. It just felt so haunted, right? It was so scary, I didn't think I would want to come and do anything here. That's how strong it was, and I'm not afraid of any of that, right? I believe in it, but I'm not, So, anyways, I remember I came, I was like, I got to spend the night here. I got to do this to see. And then I waited till like midnight or whatever, and I came back down and was walking through the town. It was so strong. It was just thick in the air, like everything. It was like you were still in some spiritual realm of like people all around you or something. It was bizarre.
There was a lot of energy here. There was a lot of people that would come to Helper for shopping and entertainment, and so many different people from all over the world ended up here, and
but none of it felt negative enough not to do something. I remember waking up the next day, it's go time.
Right.
Let's start with an attraction, see how that works, which was the Conoco.
Yeah.
And that was
Well, you really just intended to do that, and that was kind of like you were just
Yeah.
coming to do that.
I was just
he
gonna
always
do that
wanted
and
to
leave.
just restore a gas station and
And just see
it was
what.
just like his hobby project, and then it kind of spiraled out of control
Yeah.
a little bit.
Because by the time it was done, I had met a guy had pulled up in a truck, and I was still working on it. And he was an author. He said he wrote a book, on old service stations and traveling the U.S., that type of thing. And he said, "Man, somebody told me that," well, and I thought, wow. And he was like from Tennessee or something. And I go, "You came all the way out here to look at this?" And he said, "Yeah." And so, of course, that kind of sparked something.
Yeah.
Which then, as enough of that happened, then it became, let's do this motorcycle museum. I don't have enough time to show you today, but are you around tomorrow?
No, I'm heading out earlier on the train. Yeah, this is it.
Dang.
But is Bobby there?
Yeah, Bobby's there.
So my brother-in-law's there. He can.
But he'll
give you
yeah.
an answer.
It's only sucks because it's payday, and I gotta get.
Yeah, you gotta get what you need to do. Yeah.
But then, doing that museum, I thought, you know what? I want to see if people. There's no glory in doing anything to me in the middle of some people, if they do any kind of a project, they're looking for, as I say, location, right?
Yeah.
I'm just the opposite. It's like, if you really want to see this, then you're going to have to work. Right? You're going to have to go out of your way, type of thing.
Okay.
And so bringing the museum down, or building that museum there, was kind of that thing of, people really want to see this, they'll go out of their way, right? And that really, I felt, took off, and because people from all around the world come in there.
I'm not surprised, yeah.
All over the world. I mean, the country, like from around the world. So that's been really exciting and my brother loves touring people through. I'm so fortunate to have him, as my brother, but for him to want to take the time to walk people out, he really will take the time to show people around, talk to them about stuff, and they really enjoy it. I get so many calls from me, "Man, your brother is the best." He spent an hour walking us around.
Okay.
And they don't forget, there's so many repeat people because of what he's doing.
That makes
like,
sense.
"Man, your brother gives the best tour. I'm going to tell my cousin, or I'm going to tell, And I really, my brother Bobby's been such an ambassador to, the amount of people that enjoy the town and come here, and it's really memorable to him. Just so many people come to thank me, for what he's doing. So, I'm always just so happy to go back and tell him, "Bobby, you got to know what you're doing is so special to people. You may not know, but they'll tell me, what a great brother I have," right?
Exactly.
So, I want him to know that, because sometimes I get a little bugged. So I'm like, "Dude, you can't spend 2 hours with somebody. We got shit to do. Like, I got work to do, there's, it's a shop, right?"
Yeah.
But then I catch myself, and then I stop, and I'm like, you know what? He's doing everything you dreamed of wanting to do, and I don't have the time, because I don't really ever talk to anybody. I really just don't. And for him to do that and take the time, right? Because that is what it's all about. You're trying to make people happy.
And that's Spinach Motor Company, and right across from the post office. And it's Gary's. So what he did for 40 years was restore vintage motorcycles and classic cars, and in his shop in American Fort. And then he closed that and found helper, and so then he kind of switched gears. Switched gears from restoring cars and motorcycles to buildings. So when he moved, he had to move out of his shop, and he had just finished the building that is the Lincoln Hotel, and just moved his collection here, and so it's been a really great attraction. We filmed with Norman Reedus for his show Ride with Norman Reedus, and Keanu Reeves was with him. That was
Keanu
really
Reeves
awesome.
Cool.
That was.
We did an episode with Ghost Adventures.
You have to look that up.
I will.
Chaos in Conoco County.
Oh,
That's
they were
when you
just,
lay in bed
they were
looking
just
at
here
it.
again,
Yeah.
filming over in Hiawatha, in an old combing town. And then there's going to be a movie filmed in the spring.
Those
We're
little
excited about.
accomplishments are so
Spring, summer.
rewarding. Those little things and you don't ever want to take that stuff for granted. And it's like anything. And I think you would get it, you know, as a musician or artist. It's like, at least for me, I don't know. Maybe it's not true, but to me, the fun of it is doing it and coming up. Like once you get to a certain level, I think you got to do something else. It's time to move on. But it's like right now is that point where all the little dreams, like meeting you, like that is really what I'm talking about. You coming out to wanting to film in the Conoco, right? Those are like, to me, are the rewards, right? Of all the hard work. Because other than that, you're just working all day, right?
Yeah,
But then you
there's
meet
somebody
someone.
to appreciate the
Yeah,
effort
that's
and the,
you don't know
Yeah.
what that does to me here, right?
it's like, oh, it's happening. This is,
this is
because I don't think you really planned on this. Like,
no,
when you
it
started,
was a hope.
but then
I mean,
it kind of progressed and
yeah,
kept going. But the hope always is that someone's gonna come get off the train and stay here. Like,
oh yeah,
Right,
and then you did it,
And
and
you did,
then now it's a
and,
double
you
whammy
know,
because now you
being a part
appreciated
of your
that.
creative project is
Right.
so fun.
And then that gets out in the world. And
Right.
Yeah.
And then from my perspective, just because I don't need to wrap up, but it's also true though that I see something, I get an idea, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll call them or email them, and
Yeah.
I'm always expecting no.
Yeah.
Go away.
If you'd have called me, it probably would have been.
No, you would,
But Mallory's.
you're not taking the call because you're doing the business.
Yeah, and I don't mean to be rude, but
Yeah.
yeah, Mallory's like, yeah, I could do this stuff all day long and nobody would know about it. She's
Right.
got this innate ability, this, I'm blown away with how she can take things to another level, right? Like, we all have our place, or we all have our, I shouldn't say place.
Skill set.
Yeah.
Sure.
And,
And your skill set, in part, in a small part, is that when some weird guy emails you
I
saying,
feel the call.
I wanna make a video, I don't know, you understand what I'm asking, and so that is something that can work. This is how it could work,
right.
and for me that says, oh look, there's somebody interested in artistic stuff. And then when I delve more into it, I think, wait a minute, you all are into a whole project. This is the stars align. This is just telling me absolutely. And then that in turn gives me more hope that maybe the world can get along better if you can present an interesting idea and someone says, that's a cool thing, why don't you come out and do it? As opposed to, no.
Well, and it sometimes just depends on what time of the month you catch me in.
That's
I thought you had a good day there.
Some people have gotten turned down, or like we're just too busy, or I'm overwhelmed, or whatever. But yeah, definitely the stars align, and I love it when people are able to appreciate it and use it in their creative endeavors. That's really fun.
Yeah, and the stories I've already told people about coming out here, they're like, really? I said, yeah, you wouldn't believe it. They were so friendly, and they totally get it. And go on this website and see this thing, but because it's sort of like the barber pole tells you, I think there's something pretty rich here.
Yeah.
It's not just a glossy little, I'm not going to go out there and be disappointed.
Yeah.
I stepped off the train and went, oh my God, it's exactly like my dream.
Yeah.
Whoa!
You can make more of a difference in a small town, in a small area, than you could. You're not just a drop in the bucket. And that's what you're doing, and that's what we're doing.
And just individually, just being a good person, right? You can't change the world. All you can do is be a good person, let other people potentially admire that and say, hey, I kind of want to be like that. I don't want to be the guy who's doing all this gray guard. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like you're trying to set an example, maybe I should say.
That's
right?
good. That's
and
good.
if you can just do that and be a good person, it will rub off.
And I think part of setting that example is just like when you follow your passion, maybe other people are, they can follow their passion.
Right.
Yes.
And no, everybody is contributing to the experience of community and life.
Creating.
But it's about everybody just kind of finding their own passion. And I think that's where I've been a little lost the last couple years, like what? And so I'm excited to get back to doing the things that I really like to do.
Good.
But yeah, I think, that's something that Mary Lou had said was, everybody just, when we were in kind of some conflicts, with city and whatever, it's like, she's like, everybody just needs to follow their own passion and, and I think that's a really nice thing to remember. And that's why I was so excited for you to come out here, because you're following your passion and your project, and
that's it. So you if you follow yours, and I see that you're following yours, that inspires me to follow mine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I just try to, living in urban New England city, and you keep your head down, and I just thought, don't be like that. And I realized, okay, don't stare at people's eyes, because that's also going to unnerve them. But I thought, okay, we catch each other's eye really quickly, just smile. No big smile, just a nod and a smile.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people are like, okay, I can't.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, someone smiles back.
Yeah.
And you realize both of us now are happier than we were a millisecond before.
Right.
And that's going to change our day. And maybe
it costs nothing.
And it's a lot to learn, and it takes energy to keep doing it. I feel like maybe you're in this place where you're a little depleted from that, but it'll come back.
I really spent the last couple years just kind of like, okay.
She doesn't understand what she does, because I know her emotions up and down, but she doesn't understand the amount that she has created and done, right? So she gets down, I'm like I don't know what to say, because I'm no psychiatrist, right? But it's like, or therapist, but it's like, you do so much, but she's, I could tell she feels empty sometimes, right?
It's not always going to work. It doesn't always come back to you, and it's, the ebb and flow, and when it's ebbed, it's like,
but she's so creative and so.
But I'm excited because we just bought some ground, and I'm gonna have a cut flower patch as my goal.
Yeah.
I'm like, what really makes me happy is flowers. Like,
Next time
I want to grow flowers.
You'll have to do a video on a field of flowers.
Exactly.
That's what we're gonna have.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll let you guys continue.
I have to go.
Yeah, you all need to go.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel sad that you got to go. I was wishing you'd be around tomorrow.
I will be back.
Okay.
Not immediately, but I mean, this is absolutely.
Keep in touch. Tell them there's an event or something.
Yeah. No, I'll be in touch.
I'm excited to see your
this video.
I mean, I'm really invested in it now.
The cinematographer. So and she was awesome. Like you have a gift if you decide to stop planting flowers.
It really